Choosing the small, doable action. Data for high impact and feasibility. Nutrition programs that focus on changing a few behaviors are most successful. We can't do everything at once. In this video, we show how a simple tool can help you select the most powerful behaviors to change. The tool guides you through 3 ways to use data to help you choose behaviors for impact and feasibility. Before we look at this tool for setting priorities, let's talk about 2 things: dietary diversity and the term small doable action. In the Amhara region of Ethiopia, Alive and Thrive zoomed in on a nutrition indicator called minimum dietary diversity for children 6 to 24 months of age. Because it was so low, only 6%. This means that babies who are 6 to 24 months of age are seldom eating the variety of nutrient-rich foods they need. The indicator for dietary diversity is measured by asking mothers, "What did you feed your child yesterday?" The children who eat from 4 or more food groups are counted. For example, this child had a diverse diet because the mother said she fed her baby porridge made of the grain teff, and she added milk, an egg, and kale, a dark green leafy vegetable that is rich in vitamin A. Second, feeding diverse foods is not itself a single behavior. It's the sum of 4 or more small doable actions. That is, it's useful to treat the feeding of each of those 4 different foods as a distinct small doable action. A small doable action is something small that the mother feels she can do.
I can do that. That's doable.
The challenge is to pick 1 or 2 small doable actions with greatest impact and feasibility. In Ethiopia, we used a tool that you can use anytime you need to prioritize behaviors. It works for choosing the small doable actions to prioritize too. You can create a graph like this as a tool to help you use data to choose the priority behaviors or the key small doable actions on which your program will focus. You'll consider each behavior's impact in 2 ways. First, does the action have a high impact on the baby's health and nutrition? And second, is there room to improve it? If a behavior is already very common, promoting it won't make much of a difference in overall impact. But if it's a behavior that not many people are doing, there's lots of room for improvement. Changing that behavior would have a big impact on the overall population. The more impact, the higher the spot on the graph. You'll place actions with low impact near the bottom. Third, you'll consider how feasible the behavior is from the mother's point of view. Is the action hard or easy for mothers and families to put into practice? You will move actions that mothers think are easy to the right. The easier the action, the further to the right. Hard actions stay to the left. Behaviors with high impact and high feasibility will appear on this part of the graph, high up and far to the right. Your first task is to list the small doable actions that you will compare. In this case, the small doable actions are things like to add the grain teff to enrich the child's porridge. This card represents the action to add pea flour to porridge. Here the action is to add milk to porridge. How should you decide which are the highest priority? Using the tool, you will take 3 steps to apply 3 kinds of data to figure out what to focus on. First, use global data to rank them by impact on health and nutrition. That is, if every mother did this action, what would be the relative impact on the child's health? These visuals help you quickly compare the nutrient value of each of the foods, considering protein, zinc, and iron content of the sample foods. Because beef has the highest nutrient content of any of the sample foods, we place it at the top of the ranking. You can see that eggs are the second most nutritious. Look how low the nutrient content of banana is by comparison, so it goes to the bottom. So you see how the global data help us rank small doable actions from most to least impact in the first way, looking at each behavior's impact on health. Second, you can use local data on current behaviors to identify the foods that Ethiopian babies are not eating. That's where there is room to improve. Asking, where is there room to improve, is the second way to look at impact, because changing a behavior that only a very few people are doing will have a big impact. As you can see here, most mothers are already feeding their young children grains every day, so you will not gain much by increasing this behavior. So we move grains down on the impact ranking since there's not much room to improve. What about meat and eggs? Only 2% of children 6 to 24 months are fed beef, and only 10% are fed eggs. Big gaps. We can keep those at the top because there's a lot of room to improve. So by the end of this step, you've used 2 ways to rank all the possible behaviors from highest potential for impact to the lowest. Third, we use data on how hard or easy it is to put each small doable action into practice from the family's point of view. In our formative research, we heard what mothers had to say about feasibility of the behaviors. Mothers told us,
We have meat only on celebration days, just a few times a year.
Since mothers told us that it was hard to access meat, we can leave flesh foods on the left in the hard category.
Our chickens lay eggs.
We asked, instead of selling them all at the market, could you hold some eggs back to feed your baby?
Now that I realize how important it is for my baby, I can sacrifice a few cents to try it out.
Easy. But some mothers told us,
6-month-old babies cannot digest eggs.
These data show that feeding eggs is not so easy, so let's move it back a little bit toward hard. Notice that it remains in the same vertical position, not moving up or down, only left or right, while we're considering feasibility.
We cook with pea flour often, and it's easy to add some to my baby's porridge.
Easy.
Dark green leaves are plentiful and cheap.
Easy.
But kale will make my baby's stomach hurt.
Well, a little less than easy.
We don't have a cow, but when we get milk from neighbors, add it to the baby's porridge. Most days of the year, it is hard to find fruits. I feed the baby grains every day.
As we can see, there are 2 small doable actions, feeding the baby eggs and feeding the baby pea flour, that are both high impact and high feasibility. These are wise choices for the key small doable actions to promote. Congratulations! You have just strategically used 3 kinds of data to identify key small doable actions that should be the program's focus. Let's review what we did to choose priority behaviors. With the tool, we looked at the choices in 3 ways. First, we answered the question, which behavior will have the greatest impact on child growth and development? Or, if every mother did this action, what would be the relative impact on the child's health? We used global data on nutrient density to rank the possible behaviors. Second, we looked at impact in another way. Which foods are Ethiopian babies not eating? Where is there room to improve? We used local data on the current behaviors to change the impact ranking. We moved the actions with little potential to improve downward on the scale. By looking at the actions in 2 ways together, high biological impact of the food on the child and lots of room for improvement, we discovered those with the highest impact. But before we decided to promote the ones at the top of this list, we considered the small actions that mothers feel they can do. We used the horizontal axis to ask, how hard or easy is it? We had local qualitative data to rank the actions on feasibility. For this part, we did not move the small doable actions up or down, only from left to right. In our program's counseling, we can promote many important foods, but our mass media and community mobilization would really stress the value and ease of just 2 priority small doable actions: feeding the baby eggs every day and feeding the baby split peas every day. When you try this tool on your own list of possible behaviors or small doable actions, those that land here may be your most strategic choice of behaviors to promote. These have the most impact and are most feasible for families.